What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark, MyMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and I also do TV shows. And I wanted to take a look at J.J. Abrams' new series, Duster, which I think a lot of people would probably be something else, but it's not. It is what we get, and we are going to try to give Josh Holloway another chance at a TV series. And it's on Max, and it's doing weekly drops. I don't even think they didn't even do like a multi-episode drop at the beginning, which they often do. So many shows now premiere with like the first two episodes, Murderbot. Like so many other shows are just like, here's the first two because we need to hook you in fast. No, they're pretty confident that you're here for J.J. Abrams or you're not here. And they don't need to hook you in because you're either going to go on the ride with J.J. Abrams and see what he's got up his sleeve or not. Okay, so to that point, we need to remember that J.J. Abrams has made more things than Lost. So just because he made Lost does not mean everything is the next Lost. So I don't know that we always have a deep mystery to uncover. So sometimes you are reliant upon a pilot and grabbing people, pulling them in, and bringing them in. And I felt like this is a show that probably could have benefited from a multi-episode drop and bringing people in more on the story moving forward. I don't know, but let's talk. Let's click like and subscribe. I have thoughts on Duster. So Josh Holloway plays a driver, and there's some excellent sequences that are narrated here through the audio description of driving. Just they sound great. The sound design is great. Everything about like these crazy ass driving things that he does, it feels like the manifestation of something like a video game like Driver that I don't think ever got an actual game adaptation, or something where you're just a wheelman. Another video game. There's I remember Wheelman. So something where you're just constantly behind the wheel of a car, basically. And sometimes those shows don't always work because it's like too much driving and how you tell the story. I'm still waiting for the second season of Peacock's series Twisted Metal, which is like a lot of driving. So I love Josh Holloway. I mean, yeah, he was great as Sawyer, and I think TV had a promise for him, which was he deserves to be a breakout star of something somewhere. There must be a show that can properly use Josh Holloway. Like, I was really excited when he was in Mission Impossible for like 5 minutes. Kind of wish he had done a little bit more. I think that would have helped him out to be more than just almost a cameo in the Mission Impossible franchise. And I think he's had a lot of failed shows. So he's had a couple shows that have run more than one season, but not ones that have run. He doesn't have a long running show. He's not like a David Boreanaz that jumps around from show to show and the show runs for a while. Nathan Fillion is another person who jumps into shows, and most of the time they get multiple season orders and run for a long time. Castle and The Rookie, both substantial lengths to them. So, Josh is somebody who suffers a little bit more from Eric Balfour disease. That's a deep cut if you have to really follow TV. Even he has one show. It was in Haven. So Holloway plays a driver for a crime boss played by Keith David, and it's which is important. Keith David, not David Keith, sadly passed away. Keith David is the mob boss, and my mustache is driving me insane today. And he's dangerous. He's on the list of, the FBI's got his number, but they also don't know what to do with him. So he's out in Phoenix in Arizona, sort of running this criminal enterprise, and we see Holloway plays Jim, this driver, and he's driving around in the car with this kid who refers to him as his uncle, as her uncle. There's more to that story. I'm not here to spoil literally everything about this to you, but you should be able to uncover some things for yourself. Um, and this little girl, Lulu, is driving around with him. She's counting the cash, and they're heading off to pick up a package, and they have to deliver the package somewhere. It does kind of go somewhere that I didn't think it was going to go. It becomes interesting and sort of explores, and it shows sort of the reach that Keith David's character has in terms of what his family is able to achieve and do, sort of under the radar without much knowledge. And we're introduced to a new agent, not who was hired. They're kind of admitting that she was like a DEI hire. I hate to use that term because it didn't exist back then, but that they Hoover needed to hire some black people. They're straight up telling her this at the beginning of the thing. They're trying to justify why she was ever there to begin with, and they're like, now we don't know what to do with you, because obviously this is post Hoover. We do hear like Watergate in the background, so for time period purposes, that's kind of where we are. So it's weird to be post civil rights and still be at a point where the FBI is like, yeah, you're black and you don't really belong here. We don't know what to do with you. Welcome we're going to send you out to Phoenix. And she wants to be on his case anyway. And there's a reason for that, and you'll get to it at the end. Again, I'm not here to spoil literally everything. This isn't a play-by-play breakdown of point by point. I want to leave you to either want to watch the show or to pick up for my vibe and then just go, no. Oh God, this is not what I was looking for. There are no aliens in this. There are no aliens in this. So, so she goes out there and she's paired with, I guess, probably the only other person of color in the entire Phoenix FBI office, who is a Native American man. And, he mentions the fact that he always is sort of given like shit jobs, and it's nice for her to treat him like a human being. And he even explains his name and why people think it's like Owan, and people just think it's like, oh, Juan, like he's another Juan, and they hear the Juan part, they think he's Spanish, like Mexican or whatever. So he seems like he'll be a fun partner for her, fun supporting character that develops over the course of time. But she's a Spitfire that comes in hot into the series with wit. One of those characters that is inherently smarter than everybody and is ready to show it. And just was waiting to be given the opportunity to have a leash long enough to be able to do something. So she starts tackling this case and starts putting pieces together, which is going to be problematic for Jim because the pieces she's putting together kind of lead to Jim. So she targets Jim and wants to try to make him a confidential informant. And that's sort of what the first episode is about. It's about trying to flip him and the complications that surround that, and also the complications that she faces as a black female FBI agent when the FBI is pretty openly anti her. And everybody like her. I don't know how else to put that. They don't really hide it. She has another officer in Phoenix. Luckily, we have Greg Grunberg, who I think is just refusing to play a racist character. So he seems pretty chill, and he's out there in Phoenix because it's a J.J. Abrams show. So of course Greg was gonna be here. I don't think J.J. Abrams moves without Greg. So, Greg was in the Force Awakens. So he basically does everything J.J. Abrams has ever done. So, he also works at the field office, and they let this other guy be sort of the asshole of the series that and tell her what to do. And like she's using a room, and he's like, I need this cleared out because I need the room. It's like, oh, okay. For what? Just to have it? Like, there's nothing, no end to that sentence. It's a conference room. What do you need? Anyway, so I don't know, man. It's fine. At the end of the day, this is fine. It opens up a door with some questions, and there's a mystery. And I kind of wonder if there isn't like a preconceived notion with J.J. Abrams. See, the thing is, the last time J.J. Abrams has a development deal with Warner Brothers, I think this still comes out of his development deal that didn't go well for him. He was developing a show with them when they started using everything as a tax write-off and canceling high-profile projects. He had a project that was like a $200 million Max series, and then they killed it. And that, to my knowledge, was sci-fi related. That was going to be a little bit more like Lost or Westworld or something like that. It was going to be a little bit more in that realm of television. This is not. This is a little bit more, it reminds me, it's got like a charm to it. It does have a little bit of danger. It's not quite like Alias, which was, I think, had a little bit more action and seriousness to it. This one has a little bit more of a wink and a nudge. And the closest thing I could think of is Undercovers, which is one of his shorter series that didn't run for very long. And that's kind of where the vibe that I'm getting. I wish he was stylizing it more, so it felt more quintessential 70s, more of the time period, through the music, I wish he was a stylish, director, creator, or whatever here. I wish there were some things that he could do to kind of spice it up and flavor it so that it doesn't feel like it's just kind of just another show. I think Duster runs a risk of feeling just like another show, and whether or not you want to watch it or not. I don't know that it's as compelling as some of the other things that are on right now that almost demand you to watch it. And you can be resistant to something like The Last of Us, but The Last of Us has a story that pushes it forward and demands that you watch this. Duster, I was having a little bit of a hard time with the pilot, getting to the end of it. And yeah, at the end of it, it goes, this is the hook. I was kind of like, the pilot's really long. I was feeling the length of a pilot that wasn't even an hour. Like, this isn't like a 2-hour movie or something like that. It just felt like the job of a pilot is to introduce you to the show and the characters and the plot and the summary. And it kind of does all that, but it somehow does it in a meandering way. It somehow does it in this indirect way where it's trying to balance these two sides, this good and bad, the law versus illegal, whatever. It's trying to make that happen, and I'm not 100% sure that it's doing that. There's a whole bunch of cast members in it that I don't know. This is like my first time watching any of them. And so I would have shown up for Josh Holloway anyway in a show. I would have shown up for J.J. Abrams at least for a pilot. I'm going to watch Duster for at least a little while, but I wasn't initially quite as pulled in as I thought I might be by something conceptually like this. I also didn't know anything about it going in. I pretty much, as a critic, you hand me something and I watch it and I review it and I tell you what I thought, and I try to be honest so that you can read who I am as a person, not trying to put on anything or, I'm not so worried about format, so we can just have a conversation about the show. I watch a lot of TV. There's nothing here about Duster that just blew me away. And I think if I was a studio executive or a network executive, if I was shown the pilot, this is something that I absolutely would not have ordered straight to series. This is absolutely something that I would have said, can I see more scripts? Can I see where this is going? And I think J.J. Abrams would have been offended by that. He'd have been like, but I'm J.J. Abrams. And I'm like, I don't know, man. This pilot is fine, but it's not like, it's not one of your big shows. It's not one of your big things. It feels like it might hit, but it also feels like it could totally undercovers its way off of a TV landscape. So that's the thing about being these super mega producers, is that every once in a while they don't hit. Dick Wolf can produce a flop. Jerry Bruckheimer can produce a flop. These people that they put their names in on shows, it is possible for them to do something that doesn't work. Ryan Murphy, it is possible for them to put out a show that just doesn't get a second season, and it's just a one season thing. And they've done that. All of them have done that. Sadly, even Norman Lear, who was involved with Clean Slate. I don't think a lot of people knew that. That was like his last show. The man who created All in the Family was alive long enough to work on Clean Slate, which got axed by Amazon after one season. So if you're sitting there going like, well, I love everything that Norman Lear does, it's like, well, why did Clean Slate only run for one season? Because that's his show. So when you have showrunners, it's not the same thing as having a director, as having somebody, because J.J. Abrams is not going to direct every single episode of Duster. So it's not the same thing as him doing his direction. It's him trying to push a series forward and trying to control the narrative, but he still is reliant upon the creative of the show. And I don't know how hands-on or hands-off he is with every single one of his projects. This is not lost, and I don't know how many people it's going to lose as a side effect of that. The audio description was fine. It didn't necessarily blow me away. There was something about the quality of it that just didn't sit right with me. Something about the actual quality of the track. Not the voice, not the writing, the actual sound of the audio description mixed into Duster. That felt like it was not quite where Duster was, if that makes any sense. Like, it feels like I don't know sound well enough. And there are people who can hear it and they go, oh, well, that's because it's in this, not in this, or because they mixed it like this and not. The people who are sound engineers, they can hear that kind of stuff. I think there's something that's missing in Duster. I don't think it's quite at the level. But I have no problem with the narrator. I have no problem with the writing. I think both of those are strong, and those are kind of the two more prominent things that you have to listen to. As much as I love Josh Holloway and I want to see him move forward in the future, this is sort of on the fence to me. They do kind of leave it with okay, so this is where we're headed. And then that was kind of interesting, but I also think how they use an episode, if they keep using it sort of how they did in the first one, I think every episode is just going to feel long. And I don't know that I'm going to want to sit through, I don't even know how many, 8, 10, 12, 13. With streaming shows, it's hard to know. This could have 6 episodes, 5, 8, 10. I have no idea. And it could run for however many seasons. I don't know. I don't know what the limit is. I don't know if it'll get better or worse, but I will continue to watch it for now. But it's a for now. It's not a immediate series order for me where I'm hooked and invested and down and I love everything about it, which is disappointing because I love J.J. Abrams on like more than not. Like I love The Force Awakens. So not 8 and 9, but The Force Awakens. I do. I'm one of those people. I'm like 7 was good, 8 and 9. So yeah. Let's give Duster a B-. It's got some stuff there to work with. And Josh Holloway, I love seeing him back in a thing, and he feels a lot like Sawyer here. So that's a good play for him, as he's not playing against type. He's not trying to play like a nerdy character or something like that. Or I don't know. He's playing sort of like down and dirty, good bad guy. Bad guy with a heart. Bad guy for good reasons. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you guys on the other side.